I'm going to start off with most of these are drunk written.
Right.
That sounds best. That sounds great.
And I don't even remember what half of this means. So, what is the most pretentious way to say the band Bon Iver?
Wait, are we gonna take turns on this shit or what?
I don't know. You just talk about it. Somebody say it.
What's the band?
Darren, get closer to the mic.
The band Bon Iver?
No.
Well, to be honest, I just learned how it's pronounced. I've been calling it Bon Iver for a long time. So I think I might already be disqualified.
Yeah, I say Bon Iver, but my most pretentious would be Bon Iver.
Bon Iver.
Bon Iver.
Bon Iver.
That's the Japanese way of saying it.
No, it's more French. Bon Iver.
Yes, it is mellow. Yes. High pitched male voice. Yeah. High
You
pitched
could
male
go-
voice, very melodic.
You could go foppish, right? Bon Iver. Delightful.
Quite the eunuch.
Yep, the eunuch sings.
All right, Justin wins.
Band.
Justin wins.
Bon Iver came around at the time of my life.
So
Is that your contribution to fanning this?
Okay, computer.
I mean, point of order. Like that's a super inside joke, right? Like, is that like,
It is.
That's super inside baseball. Okay. Why do you think we all wear the same uniform in the future? And will it actually come to pass to be that way?
Probably because of breeding rights.
No, I need you to flesh that out. Just flesh out that uniform.
Me?
Flesh it out?
Yeah, well, like what breeding rights? Like, go on. I'm interested.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, if we're all wearing the same uniform in the future, it's because we all have different, social class levels. Breeding rights is what it really comes down to. So,
Wait. I have a blue suit, so that means I have access to other blue suits?
yeah,
so
exactly.
like 1984, or not that, a Brave New World kind of idea?
Yeah. That's where I went. That's where my head immediately
So
went.
the alphas and the epsilons and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And then it's
Right.
color-coded.
Rank.
Who are you? You're wearing a blue suit. I'm wearing a silver suit. Fuck you.
Why are you talking to me, silver suit?
You're still British.
Well, it is Brave New World.
Well, I'm intrigued by so Darren's like, oh, yeah, because we have the social class thing with his breeding rights. Like we have the social class thing now, and I'm trying to think, is there a connection there? Is like, okay, well, it's
Like
like,
jeans?
Now it's settling bullshit and designer names and
Yeah,
I
but
don't know. Yeah,
too, maybe in the future,
maybe in the future it's just more.
social.
It's more organized.
well, it's like you're signaling class, right? This is the kind of person I am. You can tell by the kind of clothes that I'm wearing. Therefore, we are the same kind of people that are trying to establish we're the same sort of class, same sort of.
It wouldn't be like what clothes you wear, whatever. It's
No,
more
it'd be like,
what you could do. Like,
where are you allowed to get off on the train? I've watched too many episodes of Black Mirror. I'm sorry.
So, but right now, individualism is kind of on the growth. What do you think would kill that idea? Why would people
Capitalism?
want cannibalism?
No, capitalism.
that too.
or possibly cannibalism.
Well, if you can have a good deal and make a lot of money on it,
That guy's wearing brown. He's edible.
All I know is that the turquoise people are delicious.
wait a minute, are you saying that these new suits, some of them are edible?
Now, would the turquoise people be shortened to Turks? So are you just saying Turks are more delicious?
Turkletons?
Turkleton? Your name's Turkleton?
He did it. Turkey basted Turkletons.
Play it back. There's a T.
I'm wondering, for me, the direction I went with this is like, okay, so we failed to actually deal with global warming. Our society is sort of decayed. The environment is destroyed. Everyone's there in the same uniform, which is like just this, sort of vaguely gray brown admixture of whatever cloth you can get your hands
Exactly
on.
what I have in my head. Totally.
As we scrape and try to survive in the post-apocalyptic dystopia.
Soylent turquoise is people.
Come back from it.
I mean, we
All
can't.
right. Moving on.
I got one real quick. Just because it's a book that I've read many times, and it's about interplanetary exploration, and you wear suits that help you deal with other planets' environments, and you can actually just have full civilizations, and you just happen to wear you're inside of the external environments, and you occasionally unsheath inside of it. Oh, say Bonnever, quick.
All right, speaking of books and space and all that, what was on the Spice Channel in the Dune series?
What was the Spice Channel?
In
Yeah,
the-
in Dune, what would have been on the Spice Channel?
They're definitely on their like 75th Bene
That's like-
Gesserit like
Bene
lesbian
Gesserit
porn.
City. Bene Gesserit titties. is on
Oh
there.
yes.
I would figure it'd just be worms fucking.
Okay. Hey, no. Sand nipple.
Yeah,
Damn.
world-sized worms fucking.
Oh, blue nipples. Yes. From the spice. It's in your mouth. It gets on the
It
nipples.
depends
They
how
turn
spicy.
blue.
Wow, that's good stuff.
Yeah, because were they ever naked?
I mean-
Dune, and then there's a Spice Channel.
Yeah, if you're ingesting spice and licking nipples, the nipples would be blue. So if you're like a spice whore, you'd have blue nipples. That'd be kind of a sexy thing. That'd be a sexy thing.
Be a
Yeah,
whore.
you'd be a spice whore. Blue nipples.
You can probably see it through your clothes.
It's right
They're glowing.
Darren, I've seen you without a shirt on. You have purple nipples already. I feel like
Look,
Hey,
if-
Italian nipples.
if-
Okay, Justin.
pepperoni was the spice of life, I would be a spice whore. Okay,
Dune.
I'm
All right,
Dune.
this question just says, and you'll have to. Okay, so the actual question is, what the fuck was I talking about? Okay, fine, but why is chlorophyll green?
Ooh,
That's the question. So
because it's
answer
the good
the-
stuff that plants go for.
answer the question if you want, or answer what the fuck I was talking about in my head.
It's the good stuff plants love.
Chlorophyll. Darren,
The chlorophyll.
yeah, what's chlorophyll?
Chlorophyll is
Like
the
chlorophyll.
I know I was
green
thinking Billy Madison too.
But he
byproduct
had to say it.
of photosynthesis in
Oh.
plants
Oh, okay.
that makes leaves green.
Now I remember.
Yeah, it's
I
how
almost thought it.
plants
I almost
get
thought it
energy
was
is the
was
photosynthesis.
the
is
thing
light.
that like the measure of force in cells, but I had to remind myself that chlorophyll is not the measure of force in human cells. It's actual green plant stuff.
Be green by default. I would guess that it happened to be a particular color based off of the first genetic mutation, and it fucking stuck with it because it was effective, and it just happened to be fucking green.
Well, I think colors also have a chemical effect.
I think it's something to do with like the way that the light is absorbed, that
Yeah.
spectrum of light, the UV thing.
You
I'm
are-
guessing.
I mean, it's based off of how it happened to mutate into something that could, translate sunlight into
I
energy.
think Justin's also right. The actual wavelength of the color of the light that comes from the sun, wavelengths, colors are also wavelengths. It's all relevant.
Yeah, I can't. I refuse. At least right now, with my current understanding, I refuse to believe that there couldn't be something red that could actually translate the sun's light into energy.
Nope,
Well,
doesn't.
my expectation would be like it probably would work, but it would be
Never mind
less
then.
efficient. You know what I mean? Which is
Exactly.
why green won out in the sort of grand evolutionary battle of 2 trillion years, whatever it took for plants to evolve.
All right, two-part question. Why is green also a color that means horny psychologically?
What?
Is it psychological or is
I
it
thought it
just
was
a bit?
jealous. Isn't it jealousy?
Cataloged that way anyway.
Darren, do you see green and you're like, oh, I gotta fuck something?
I'm not personally relating this. I'm just saying.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and say it's down to Captain Kirk and the sexy
Yeah.
green woman from the first Star Trek.
That's why chlorophyll's green?
No,
Zamora? Is
that's
that
why
what it
green
is?
is a sexy color.
Because the sexiest
Gamora.
aliens
Yeah.
are green.
Gamora's pretty hot. I'm just saying.
Wait,
Alright.
Gamora was from Star Trek?
No,
Guardians against
Yeah.
It's
Oh, I read Star Trek. So I'm like, wait, it's Guardians of the Galaxy.
It's,
Well, there was a
aliens.
classic original Captain
Yeah.
Kirk Star Trek episode where he gets with a green chick.
Which was also the first black kiss on television.
Well, that was a different thing, but yeah.
But yes, also true.
That was black,
No.
not green.
The first interracial, I think.
That was Uhura, not the green alien.
Interracial. Thank you, Justin. Let me clear that up. Let you clear that up.
Did you say
Right, if I made a delicious
I just
goulash,
said black.
Coastal?
I meant for us.
if I made a
whiteys,
delicious,
first black.
if I made a delicious goulash for us, and told you I made it with a special ingredient, what's your biggest fear that special ingredient would be?
Fucking anything, it's goulash.
probably your cum or something.
Brian?
How dare you?
Seriously, no.
Brian!
Special ingredient? Like, all I can think of from a dude is like he's gonna jizz into something.
No, but-
like
but-
there's a special
So,
ingredient.
out of curiosity, let's reverse the question.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Ashley
Classic
is going
dude.
create the goulash. What would you assume it would be?
Brian is saying he made it personally. So what's Brian's special?
Yeah, his
Oh,
jizz.
you're such a dude.
Calm down, bro.
Disgusting.
I'm cooking here, and I
I'm
haven't.
sorry, your jizz or oregano? I don't know.
You don't like oregano?
Holy oregano.
Is that what it tastes like?
He's like, it's my special ingredient. No one's ever tried.
Just
No one's ever
said a special
spiced up
ingredient is love.
goulash with oregano before. I'm the original.
It's salt.
So special.
Lots and lots of salt.
Wait, so are you going to tell us?
Goopy salt.
Jesus Christ.
No, there's no answer. I'm just wondering what your
Oh, come
what your
on! Tell
worst
us what it is.
What's your
egg. It's egg.
It's
Oh my god, that's disgusting.
Which is the same consistency as
Is
It's
it one
it's yeah.
carbonate?
It's
Like the
but it's just the
fertilization?
it's just the albumin. It's just the albumin.
Exactly.
God.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. What's Jeremy's contribution? I haven't heard one.
Yeah.
What's that?
Exactly.
What's Jeremy's contribution to Brian's special flavoring?
I just told you. He was just trying to say it was love.
He said that a while ago.
That's adorably goopy.
God.
Very goopy, like jizz.
Love jizz. Jizz with love.
There's cum everywhere.
You know what? That's the deepest form of love.
How much are
We're
you
burning.
burning?
Jump up and down like
Anyway.
a care.
I love him out.
Oh.
All right, we're burning through these things.
Well, I mean, you said we got an hour. How long has it been?
10 minutes.
10 minutes. It's been 10 minutes.
Nobody stands on Brian's special flavoring.
Don't worry, I got a few questions.
No, I've got some other stuff. All right, so here's a weird one.
I don't have any questions.
Would you rather be the first person at a red light for a minute, or the 10th person at a red light that just turned green?
Oh, first person.
Yeah, the first person, because especially in South Carolina, people drive like fucking morons. So it's like all of a sudden it turns green and they're like, should I go?
Would anybody else like to go?
Okay, I guess I'll push my pedal on that. Or my foot on that gas pedal.
You Yankees always in a hurry.
Where are you going in such a hurry, Yank?
Like, come on, let's just
Cruise.
look around and not pay attention. We're in a fucking car, a vehicle that can kill anybody, but we're just drive around and look.
You know, there's something to be said
Attention.
for being like
Shane, you've experienced this here.
the first one out in the middle
Not the same
of
amount of
the
pain.
intersection and kind of being a little afraid of like, am I going to get hit by somebody?
It's true.
Am I the
These-
guinea pig?
It's
No, I'm saying the opposite way around.
Oh, in Florida, these are worse in Florida.
So, first of all, yes, 2 points for that. The Florida drivers are by far the worst I've experienced nationwide. Although the English are not afraid of death. They're not bad at driving. They just don't care about consequences. So it's a different problem.
Is
The
that
Floridians
driving in? Is that driving in England or people from
How is that
England, no matter where
complicated?
they're at?
Driving in England was legitimately existentially terrifying.
Yeah.
Like, driving through these like curvy roads in the countryside out to the Cotswolds.
Justin,
And
did you drive in New York when you lived there?
Yeah.
You did?
yeah,
Like through the city and all that.
It's like driving through LA, just lots of traffic. It's not a big deal.
Yeah. No, I know. I
And it's on the grid pattern, so it's a lot easier, actually.
In Manhattan, yes. Like the thing that's New York driving, like what can screw you is like, oh, shoot, I missed that, and now I'm going to go through this tunnel, and now I have to pay a toll. It's like you got to be kind of on point for that.
Hold on, really quick. Shane thought you said the Cotswolds.
No, I said the cock swab.
The Cotswolds, it's renowned for its wool.
No, he's saying COCK.
So it's the cock swab.
Oh my god.
Nice.
Am I the fucking sober one at my house right now?
sounds like it.
I hope Jossie is the sober one at your house right now, but
What's
like,
going on right now?
He's asleep. It's good.
Don't put your beer in my whiskey.
no, but sorry to go back to like my favorite thing about living in the South.
Whiskey. I had to think about what it was. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Well, I shouldn't say my favorite thing, but one of the things that's actually amusing to me is like now when I watch like any sort of like cultural product meant for popular consumption, right? Where like I watched Cool Hand Luke for the first time last night, for example, and it's one of those where it's like, okay, I know this takes place in the South, but the just grab bag use of accents right now, I have no idea. Like, there's one dude who's clearly from the Bayou, like clearly straight from Jean Lafitte, down
like
the swamp. You know what I'm saying?
Luke's best friend, that guy, like the
Yes.
other main character. Yeah,
Correct.
Make a valid point. The
that's
rest
my
of the-
boy. My boy can eat 100 eggs in no time at all.
Like, yeah. So
no, Justin, you make a valid point because the rest, anybody that hasn't like spent some time in the South doesn't know that there's a drastic difference between Louisiana, Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, Texas. They all have their own
Don't fall
like
asleep.
Southern accent, but they also all have their own comedic, like to the point of comedic Southern accent ridiculousness.
it's
They're all
well, I
So,
think
like,
there's someone did a study.
Yeah,
I
I'm
read
saying-
about it a while ago on like why the West Coast doesn't have an accent the way that like the Northeast and the South
No,
do.
they
'cause
do.
it's a conglomeration of everybody.
To everyone else, they do.
Well,
Dude, I just like totally went down here and like found a sweet burrito and it was totally tasty.
Stop.
Get on the 5, take it to the 10, and just keep going.
There you go. That's the one. That's the
So-
one.
Have you ever,
That-
have you
I
ever
would
seen that
argue-
the SNL Californian skit?
If
I
you
do-
like took the 215 and the 110 around like Santa Monica, you could totally like cut out at least 20 minutes of traffic around that. It would be an easier way.
Sydney, look, I'm going on the 10 to the 105.
so I'll be
It's
honest,
not
like
10, it's the
sketch-
10.
315, not the 310, the
Oh,
315.
I'm sorry, the 315. I'm gonna miss all that traffic.
so that sketch came out
At
when I was
5
living in the
o'clock, are
South.
you mad?
And let me tell you, every single person I know is like, "Oh my god, this sketch is hilarious! Like, you have to listen to it. You're from California, you'll totally get it."
It
I'm like,
makes
No, it doesn't make any sense to Californians.
and it's like the joke is about like how much we talk about
sense, but I drove all
Yeah,
around
traffic and
LA
freeways.
Like, when you try and make your way home from Pasadena at 3 in the afternoon, you get that sketch.
Sydney, I'm in Pasadena right now.
Well,
I guess I should take the 101 to
sure.
the 215
No,
and take the 405 back,
I
right?
could take the 110 and cut through the bypass and then totally make it to the 215 back to the 5. But I would have to take that 3-mile stretch of the 405.
I want to murder you right now, just in case you're
Or just-
wondering. Like, this
Just
is
get on the San Vicente and shut up.
which is like, oh, like I can't imagine a more boring thing to talk about besides maybe the weather than traffic, which I guess is maybe the point of that. I don't know. It's weird to me.
Well, the story behind that sketch was that, like, when Fred Armisen would come back to California and then he'd go back to New York, he would just start,
I can tell.
like, they would ask him what he did. He's like, I got on the 10. It was just a character that he made.
See, that would be
It's a
funny, actually.
random thing around it.
Brian,
Yeah.
next question.
Yeah, I'm running out of my questions. What makes a good French fry good?
Jeremy, you're first.
What?
A balance of oil, saltiness, crispiness.
Do you want it to be crispy?
Yes.
Brian, I think the answer is who wants it to be soggy?
I love a limp McDonald's French fry, man. I love me a limp fry.
No. Hold on. Let me tell you about the perfect French fry.
Look, if you just put
Get yourself an air
It's a
fryer.
crawdad.
20 ounces of
Get yourself
umami,
an air fryer. Cut up some potatoes. Spray some oil and salt on there. Put it in there for 10 minutes.
first you just pour the umami.
Is the
How do
secret
you cut them,
ingredient
though?
semen again?
You cut
You cut 'em-
fries.
Do you cut them small or steak fries or wedges? Huh?
No, you cut them like string shoe French fries. You take
String,
a
okay,
String shoe.
shoestring French fries.
string shoe.
Yeah, that's a string shoe. Like those
Oh.
stringy shoes. You make it look like a stringy shoe.
No, that's what they're called.
Shoestrings.
No, they're shoestrings. They're shoestrings.
Okay.
We know what you meant, to your credit.
You know
I
what
didn't-
I meant, Dick. You know what I meant.
I thought you had really long shoes.
I thought it was a reference to those shoes they'd throw over the like the telephone wires.
Yeah, like doesn't that denote like a drug house or something like that?
Only if every other block in every city in America is.
I would really
Probably.
like to hear the rest of the recipe. Jeremy, first you start with
Yeah, sorry, Jeremy.
the.
I'm sorry.
It sounded like a pleasant blend. Can I bring it back for a second?
You
Or
guys
just
are
start-
kind of. If you're not too close to the mic, maybe get closer.
I'm sorry.
First you start with.
Man, there you go.
This is some sexy fries.
Make it sexy, Darren.
I'm good. I'm spent. Just the right.
I'm moving on. I don't know what's happening now. What's the worst color for a car?
Mm.
Yellow or
Yes,
orange or bright orange.
I would suggest that the cop black-white combo would be a particularly bad choice because everyone would just start slowing down every time they saw you.
Good point. Good point.
Like
You know what?
Gerber
They
baby
slow-
food green.
I don't know. That'd be like
Vomit
Elvis would be
green.
into that. Yeah, I'd feel like that would be like, oh yeah, give me that split pea green soup.
Especially with the sticker of the baby on it.
But what if it was like one of those classic station wagons with the wood interior and like half wood paneling outside, but the Gerber baby green at the same time?
Have you guys ever been to Graceland?
What the fuck?
No.
I'll bring it back. Have some faith.
You know, somebody said Elvis.
Lincoln.
Well, I get where he's going. But I asked the questions here. So, has anybody ever been to Graceland?
Good question.
Thank you.
No,
I thought long and hard about that one.
This is surprising, but I've been to Graceland.
Graceland or Graceland?
Actually, I think it's well. If you're Elva, it's Graceland. I would think.
Well,
Right?
if it's somebody's last name, it's Graceland. And if it's the place, it's Graceland.
But anyway, it's
Hi,
been preserved.
Bill Graceland. How you doing?
Bill Graceland. I trade commodities.
No, Bill Grayson is totally an accountant. What are you talking about? He's a
Oh, he works with
CPA.
accountants.
Yeah, well, all right, I guess.
Like you're lending them. Like you're lending Grace.
Because
Oh,
like Graceland.
Oh, Grace Lender.
And,
So he'd be Jewish then. So it'd be
like,
great.
Jewish?
No, he'll be Jewish. So like, if
Just
you're gonna
ish.
name your kid Graceland,
Ish.
you're gonna name your kid Graceland. Lend. Because she's gonna be, hey, Graceland, are you here? Are you present for school today? Graceland.
They won't even. They wouldn't even know.
That's only in the South.
No, actually, I have a friend
underestimating
that
the
named
Elvis.
Graceland.
Oh.
It's kind of like one of those weird names where like it has kind of like a soft like end of it. Like what's another one? Like Jocelyn would be another one of those. Like it's kind of a weird choice for a name, but you know.
Jocelyn.
Yeah, exactly, Jocelyn. You kind of slur the last part.
They're slim.
Just a little bit.
I think my hair's
Just a little bit.
If animals could talk, which would be the rudest?
Dolphins.
no giraffes or elephants. Elephants actually,
Oh, camels.
because they're like, oh no,
Camels would be.
You got it.
I'm gonna say Canadian geese.
no alpacas.
I didn't even hear.
Spit in your
I didn't
face.
hear Justin. Justin.
I'll be damned if you talk bad about my Canadian gooses.
Canadian geese would definitely be the most annoying. The
Yeah.
rudest, I should say.
Geese would be bad.
I feel like giraffes would just be very curious, right? Like, hey, what's over there? Hello.
I'm stealing
Could
the
be
mic.
carrots.
Alpacas, because like
Chill.
they'll spit in your face.
Yeah, but they're very fuzzy. I feel like if something very fuzzy spit at me,
Yeah, if they like you, but if they're like, hey, I don't like you, I'm gonna spit in your face.
Wherever Jill is to the mic, the other two guys need to be around that area.
We need to be
Yeah.
closer.
That's
Come on,
good.
Shane.
No,
Scoot in.
that's because she picked it up and put it in her face to try and make a point.
Well, maybe
Hey guys,
try
I'm
to
here.
try
This
to
is Shane. I'm
triangulate.
here right now.
Oh, there's
Hi.
Shane.
Put it in further, Shane.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
God.
Keep
Oh, I
going.
orgasmed.
It's good for me.
Is our hot dogs? Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Oh, wait.
God, no.
Did we just get 3 more tips in this meeting room?
Yeah. Mike joined at the same time you joined.
I think he tried to put 3 tips in here. I'm not sure he succeeded.
2.5 at most.
That's the Italian in him.
Tips.
Italians always bring a half.
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
I don't understand the half Italian joke. I don't get it. What am I
No,
missing?
he's Italian and a half.
Oh, is that the joke? He's like 150% Italian?
I haven't
Okay.
seen that, like, oh fuck.
It doesn't happen a lot.
I think we've.
It's good though.
Lost
That happened right there.
So,
Wait.
hot dog and sandwich. I'm going to say yes, but I have a very broad sandwich understanding.
It's fine.
I've studied sandwich.
I
Well, I'm just
can't
saying, like,
hear them.
like in a sort of like I am a sandwich descriptivist, not a sandwich prescriptivist. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to dictate the terms of someone's sandwich. If there is bread and there is things on that bread, I'm going to go with the sandwich call.
Was an open face sandwich a sandwich then? Is just can you pile stuff on a piece of bread?
Yes, I would say, like, you know, why? Who are we to limit someone's sandwich possibilities?
So what makes bread? So then is a burrito a sandwich?
So, America's Test Kitchen, you guys, like, they had a thing where like
J. Kenji Lopez alt?
Shane.
no, that's not America's Test Kitchen. That's shoot, what do they call themselves? Although that dude Kenji is legit. Every time I mix up
He's
his,
he's on point.
dude, the meatballs.
Million loves America's Test Kitchen.
Thank you. Thank you.
What happened?
It needed to be said.
We good with this, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Thank you.
Is cereal soup?
Ooh.
Cereal soup. No.
I'm gonna say.
Why?
Oh, gosh.
How long has it been out?
Yes.
Oh, that's not good.
Wow.
That's more swamp.
Well, so I feel like Brian has just revealed a deep inconsistency in my experience of food, because, like, again, my sort of open relationship with the sandwich is just been revealed as a farcical notion. Because this is not some like sort of spiritual or deep philosophy of the world and the food and how it should be viewed and consumed. Because when he said, "Is cereal a soup?" I wanted to drive to his house and whoop his ass. Like, that is cool. That question, the existence of that question is a blaspheme.
What makes a soup a soup? Do you have to cook it?
Well, because as soon as you brought it up, like, it's one of those things that I've now questioned my view of the universe. Because at first it's like, dude, cereal's cold, but then I was like, wait, gazpacho is cold. Gazpacho's definitely a soup.
If somebody brought that up, I was going to bring up gazpacho. So
yeah,
that's my
trust
point.
me, I saw your counter argument, and that's why I'm angry at you instead of
What
actually
did you
discussing
go
it.
back to Russia?
Oh, nice goulash. That's more of a stew, but I'm with you.
Well, goulash is not Russian. Goulash is Hungarian, I believe.
It's all. Hungary was Hungary never part of Russia?
Hungary was
think
part
it's-
of the
I think it's Goulashin.
USSR. Or sorry, not the USSR. Yeah, so sort of the Soviet bloc, Warsaw Pact countries. But Hungary is very much its own culture, its own language, its own thing. It's
Now,
not really a Slavic thing. No, like Hungary is like they trace back to Attila the Hun. That's why they're the Hungarians. They have their own language history. Like, it's super fascinating.
Well, they all. I
It's
mean,
definitely
all
not
the
a Slavic.
USSR countries that kind of. I mean, like
Well,
they have their own. Everybody has their own history.
Well, it's a Slavic connection, though, right? Those places all have a sort of shared history, a sort of shared language family. The Hungarians are uniquely different.
Pretty sure goulash is Goulashin.
Like,
Does it
Rubber
protect you in
boots?
the rain?
Just saying.
so what's a soup? Do you have to slow cook a soup or?
It's a brand. It's a conceptual brand, not like a marketing brand, but it's just a conceptual
milk?
brand. Like, dude, I mean, look, we all understand that it needs to be somewhat liquidy, right? Nothing solid
How
is
many-
a soup.
How many chickens would it take to kill an elephant?
Well, I mean, how fast can
One,
you?
if thrown correctly.
There you go. How fast can you lob one?
If shot at an appropriate velocity. But if a group of chickens got it in their mind to kill an elephant, how many do you think it would take?
Well, I'm going to say if the chickens are sort of organizing in this fashion, they are
But-
engaging in a sort of group activity. The way early man hunted woolly mammoths was to drive them off of cliffs.
Them from a
And I feel
cliff,
like the
yeah.
chickens could arrange that.
I don't know if I think the chickens are all for one, but they all want to kill an elephant.
Oh, like they want to personally take advantage. Like they want to be the one to peck its eyes out.
No, yeah. Well, I don't think they have a group mentality. I think it's just some chickens want to kill an elephant, and how many
Man.
chickens is it?
I
Can a
think
chicken peck an elephant? And how many pecks does it take to get to the center of an elephant?
God damn it, no. As soon as you started with how many pecks, fuck no. No. It's not happening.
Shane, the fact that you did not regale us with your classic chicken impersonation is really disheartening.
Well, if we had some music, you could go ahead and click along.
If we had classic chicken music for a classic chicken impression, we're
I'm
golden.
trying to remember that. How did the horns go for the German chicken song?
How do I go for the German chicken song? What German chicken
The
song?
chicken dance thing? You've been to an Oktoberfest.
Oh shit. Ugh.
Ziggy Zaggy?
No. Bark, 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 bark. Oh, no. Cluck, cluck. No, I don't know.
Would you rather lose your sense of smell or your sense of touch?
So-
Smell.
Yeah, I knew a guy that actually lost his sense of smell in a car accident, and he was very emphatic that was if you had to lose a sense, that was the one. to pick.
Wait. Don't skip over that.
That was
How
the
did
way
that
to
happen?
go.
How do you lose your sense of smell in a car accident?
So
His
okay.
nose was blown clean off.
How does that happen?
It was one of
I-
them smell driving cars.
He turned at the right moment where the airbag just smashed his nose right off.
The nose was outside the car.
His nose was just a pancake on the back window.
It was a friend of my parents from like many, many moons ago. God, what was his name? Sean? I can't remember.
Irrelevant.
Well, I was a
Get
kid,
to the
so I just
smell
remember well, he explained it to me, and
We don't give a shit about his history. We want to know how he lost his sense of
Well,
smell.
I'm just saying, I was like 10 years old, and so I didn't dig in. Like, how did that happen? I was kind of like, oh, dude, lost your smell. It's crazy, and I just kind of moved on. I lacked the sort of the curiosity to dig deeper, which now I regret. As Jeremy points out, like, yeah, there's probably some specific situation there. I'm guessing some sort of head smack, right? Like you got knocked, bumped in the face.
No. Why couldn't we just get directly towards, I guessing, some sort of head smack? Why the other several sentences?
Because he's made it all up.
I was
That
trying to
friend
add
was
some
me.
verisimilitude by
Dude,
adding
I
some
love
detail.
the irrelevant sticker that gets slapped on that, like 2 words into that sentence. The first sentence. Irrelevant.
As
That's just how
mentioned
you
earlier,
deal with Justin.
It just made me think of how many chickens it would take to kill an irrelevant.
It's irrelevant.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what I got.
Delete.
I think, you know what? I actually appreciate that pun because it took a lot of the heat off of me and my relevance.
Would you fight the zombie apocalypse or succumb?
Man.
Yeah.
I mean, well, you fight, right? Like, I mean, you look for the bunker.
I mean, you have to. You know,
For
while
what
you're
end?
leaving, you still have a chance, right?
Yeah, I feel like
Like,
we
what
played
would be your plan? Like if right now the news did the Shaun of the Dead, zombies are among us. What would you do? Would you
Well,
go somewhere? Would you try to
Ocean
hunker
going
down where
missile.
you are?
Well,
Ocean
Jeremy
going
and I actually played a role-playing game where we basically played ourselves, and then a zombie apocalypse breaks out. And our plan was to go to Catalina
Yeah, right.
because
Yeah,
you could
and
clear it
it's-
out and you could live there.
Big fucking island.
But I mean, how would you get to the ocean? How would you commandeer a boat? Can you drive a boat?
I can sail the boat.
We get
But
changed.
like, what would you do? Would you, like, most boats require some sort of key or something? Can you sail?
Yeah, I can sail.
How would you get to Catalina?
So, but like for me, like I'd head to Dana Point Harbor. I'd break into the yacht club there. I know they have boat keys in there. I'd find those, find where, you know what I mean? Go from there.
Now, do you not think that would be the plan of everybody that owned a boat at Dana Point?
My
Well,
expectation would be somebody rich enough to own a boat is also probably has enough sort of, what's the word? Learned helplessness in the face of that sort of doom.
What if you got to Catalina and realized that was where the outbreak began?
Well, again, you got to clear out the zombies there, right? There's people already there. Clear those out. Then then you build your
You
paradise.
say clear them out like,
Hmm.
oh yeah, eradicating 10,000 people is an easy job.
But I'm not saying this is easy. I'm saying that's your end game. Like, this is the goal you're working towards.
All right, so the end game is just get to an island, make sure that you're safe, and then. But how would you then marshal the island? What if zombies figured out how to get there, or worse, they could walk underwater?
I wouldn't even be worried about the zombies in Catalina. It would be about the other people that make
The
it to
sheep?
Catalina. Catalina would be a fucking war zone.
If you were secretly bitten, would you tell your group of friends?
Oh, yes, you have to.
Yeah,
You have
Yeah.
to.
just that's when you're done.
Yeah. You then you select a second and you commit seppuku. Like that is the only way to go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Straight up.
And on
Nope.
that note,
That's what I said. We lose Brian.
No, I'm looking like these questions. They're hard. Like I don't know when the question will end. So it's hard to find the next one.
Well, I think Brian is thinking.
what
of who his second
historic-
friend
No, what historical happening would you like to be a fly on the wall at?
Man, there was a lot.
What would would you want something like Jesus to see what actually happened? Like, was he a dude? Was he a real person?
And
I think the historical Jesus has been
Hitler
that's
in the
locked
bunker?
down. Like
Yeah.
the miracles are the stuff that's like up in the air. Like his actual historicity has been pretty much confirmed.
I'd love to be around like during the crafting, the actual writing and iteration of the Declaration, or not the Declaration, the Constitution.
Oh,
You would like to have been there?
what?
That's,
Dude, it
that's
took-
Look, I'm just saying your teeth would have been awful.
No, you're not a person in that time. You're just you're going back and observing.
you're a
that.
fly.
Yeah, you're basically a little fly drone experiencing it. So yeah, that'd be interesting to be there. But the only downside of that choice, Shane,
Shut up. What's that, sir?
I would say the only downside of that choice is that we have a lot of that information already, right? We have a lot of the firsthand accounts. We have a lot of the argumentation back and forth. Like we understand that pretty well, I think, like as a society.
Maybe actually I would go ahead and argue that as a society. But maybe it is available. But I'm still gonna go ahead and say what was. I don't know how much is different from what is written down and in accounts versus understanding and knowing the times as a resident there and understanding, what it means, what went back and forth there, and maybe you feel pretty comfortable with your understanding of it. I guess I don't.
That's fair.
So I still want to
Okay.
be a fly on the wall for it because I don't feel comfortable with my understanding of it, and honestly, I'd still doubt it because for your current accounts and recorded accounts are still going to have a fair amount of flavor color missing.
No, for sure. And actually, I mean, there's definitely something to be said for like that historical event probably has the most influence on our day-to-day lives out of like almost any choice.
I just have a lot of respect for the document that was created, and so I'd just be interested in considering also the background of the people that created it and how young they were. It's just fascinating to get a just firsthand account, just really dive into it. You know what I mean?
I respect. I guess maybe that's part of my sort of discontent with it. Like, you know what I mean? For me, that is a monument to compromise. Which, not to say that it didn't have legs, right? We're still living in that society, more or less. But, like, I sort of personally don't buy into the whole great man of history, like these guys were geniuses. Like, no one can.
Neither do I. But, yeah, I mean, I still think that, maybe I'm going to go ahead and say it's idealistic with some of the stuff that's that I've seen people talk about with respect towards it, that even if I discovered as a fly on the wall that it was just bullshit bickering and this was a shitty compromise, and fine we got it done, it'd still be educational for me.
Yeah, respect. Well, I definitely, don't let perfect be the enemy of good.
Or either that or the wall of Caligula.
The wall of Caligula?
Yeah, Caligula's wall. Dude, that shit had some shit going down, right?
Fucking animals and everybody knows.
Okay, well,
I
maybe
guess I just know anything about this. I'll have to Google that later. My goodness.
You don't know Caligula?
Caligula?
I mean, I know Caligula as a sort of historical person, but like, I don't know anything about his wall.
You have
No,
forgotten
you had-
your father.
If you could be the right hand man of any fictional character,
Caligula. Wait, no, never mind. Sorry.
he'd fuck you easy.
Ooh, Winnie the Pooh.
Do you want to be Piglet?
You want to be Piglet?
No, I thought you said you wanted to be his right hand.
Yeah, the right hand Piglet.
No, the right
Right
hand. The one that he licks all the time.
The hand that went into the beehive?
I wanted to be the honey licked hand of Winnie the Pooh.
No, the right hand man, the best friend.
Yeah, the
of
right hand. The right
No,
hand.
man, not the right hand.
Oh, the right hand man.
What, Christopher Robin?
All right, I guess I'll take Eeyore.
Right, that question did not catch on like I thought it would.
Well, so for me, like, I actually was sort of struck with this, like, well, do you want to pick like Aragorn, son of Arathorn? Like, how like meaningful and how much would you learn and like how much would you discover? Like, oh my god! But that also would be a rough life.
That would
Like,
suck. That would
Yeah,
suck.
you're right. It's like into the wild. Like, you just be you fighting the orcs and trolls. Like, you maybe like as far as like lifestyle choices, you want to pick like Solomon the Wise, right, or something like that. Where like, all right, we can hang out at the palace. We're gonna build a temple.
It's not only dedicated to Lord of the Rings, by the way. That's not.
Yeah, not a fictional character, but I'm just going with Hugh Hefner on this one.
Oh, good choice.
Hey, that'd
All
be
right.
interesting.
I'll
So
move on.
Jeremy just maximized his decadent quotient, right?
What are you talking about? It's a legitimate business endeavor.
What word would you strike from the English language?
Moist.
Voice.
I.
No one can say I. anymore.
Well, I remember that Lewis Black bit about the verb to be. It's the first thing. Is like, I'm going to say we actually just had this discussion with some people at work. Apparently, irregardless has wormed its way into the dictionary, and I am offended. So I'm going to say irregardless. I want that out formally.
You just don't like it but why? Because it's a word that isn't a word that people use.
Well, it's basically I forget the exact
It's
term, but
regardless.
it's a term that has emerged because it sounds smart, even though it's technically meaningless, right? It's like obviously a double negative, basically. So like, but it's become such common usage that it has now kind of inserted itself into the dictionary. It's very frustrating for me. We're like rewarding the like rank ignorance. And it's not even like ignorance, like, oh, I just didn't know. It's the sort of ignorance that like I'm trying to sound smart, but I'm real dumb. So it's like it rankles in a very visceral sort of way.
That's funny because my boss hates that word, and I say it a lot.
Well, I mean, you say that because you're in on the joke.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's weirdly like another example of like a word sort of warming its way into our consciousness would be the way people use jealousy is what they usually really mean is envy, but those are two very distinct emotions.
Good point, Justin. Sorry.
No, I was relishing that. I was just really reveling in that moment there.
No,
I don't think they can hear you, Dan.
But anyway, Brian, are you out of questions, or are you trying to discern?
No,
next?
I was waiting.
Sorry.
Did I miss a couple?
So, what's the most useless invention ever created?
Brian.
Brian's not an invention. Brian's a person.
Yeah, no one invented me. I'm not a robot man.
How about the catapult versus? I mean, you got the trebuchet, right?
Well, I think the catapult is the earlier iteration, right?
Yeah, but it's a bullshit. Like, why the hell would you do that when you could go straight to the trebuchet?
Well, but the trebuchet uses weight. The catapult uses springs. Wouldn't you think the trebuchet would have been first?
Yeah, but you have weight. It's not like weight needed to be invented.
It's like I feel like now we're discussing almost like the invention of the simple machines, though, right? Like there definitely was a progression. Like at some point we did not know what a screw.
Okay, what about the cornholer?
I feel like a post holer is pretty useful.
Is it a Arrested Development joke?
That's the cornballer.
Oh yeah.
Pinche cornballer.
What's the worst superhero? Who is the worst superhero?
I'm gonna say Green Arrow, based on the way no one knew who the hell I was at your wedding. I'm still salty about that. Like, there's a little kid who's like, "Why are there two Aquaman?" And if I could go back in time and punch that kid, I would do it.
It's not Green Arrow because he's got a cool story. It's the Archer dude from the Avengers.
Hawkeye?
Thank you. That works.
Ashley hates Hawkeye too. I like him just because he has no superpower and yet he holds his fucking own.
Does
he? You guys, odd question. Do you guys still have your t-shirts from that day?
Oh yeah.
Yes. It's still in the house. It no longer resembles fitting me.
Did you put it on Kaylee?
No, Ashley wears it.
Well, I read an essay.
I don't know where Darren is, but we can't hear him really, so it kind of.
Yeah, he's been told he still will continue to talk.
Where is he? Like, is he just
my
standing in the
t-shirt
kitchen?
is ready for when it's called upon.
Well, aren't you something?
Yes.
I think someone made an argument once that was, sort of compelling, even though I disagreed with it, that Gambit was the most worthless superhero. Like, we already had Wolverine. Wolverine was the sort of, like, anti-hero, like, kind of on both sides of the law, kind of, rebel in X-Men. Why do we need, a Cajun version?
Oh, come on. He's ranged.
Well, I am Team Gambit. I'm with you. Like, I dug that guy because I hated Wolverine. I thought Wolverine was so cheeseball.
And he banged Rogue.
Oh, which, yeah, dude, that's good stuff. I'm down for that.
What's the weirdest thing you've ever eaten?
Wait, hold on.
Rogue,
Mr. Plastic.
What?
You ate Mr. Plastic?
Plastic Man or Mr. Plastic? What was that guy?
Yeah, Plastic Man or Elongated Man?
Oh, Stretch Armstrong.
No, there's a Plastic Man or Elongated Man.
No, Gumby or Pokey. God damn it, I hate it.
So did you eat Gumby, or is Gumby the dumbest superhero? What are you trying to say?
Yeah, like, are you on the last question, or did you eat some sort of.
Question, we're talking about gummy bears. Wait, no, the Care Bears stare. Care Bears, they were the worst. I'm sorry, I'll let us go on to the
I
next
feel
one.
like Care Bears taught children about emotions, which I feel like is maybe underrated. Like if the Care Bears had been a bigger hit, perhaps we wouldn't be dealing with the alt-right.
Wait, didn't we have a grumpy Care Bear?
Well,
No,
yes, that's
no,
an emotion
everybody-
too.
Everybody stop. Justin, what the fuck are you talking about?
No. I made a sort of throwaway joke about the alt-right not being able to effectively express its emotions, which led to its frustrations and sort of strange
Alright,
political outbursts.
If only they had Care Bears.
Yes, exactly. Had they been
Well,
taught
like,
effectively,
do you think they didn't have access to Care Bears?
I feel like the Care Bears didn't have the necessary cultural penetration to really permeate our
They didn't
society.
stare enough. They didn't stare enough into the
Didn't
right.
stare hard enough. I'm trying to think, like, yeah, from that era.
Darren, they cannot hear you.
Darren has really embraced his southernness now. I feel like,
Is he that drunk or what?
Did you
what's
just
his
say
problem? Why
southernness?
is he doing
yeah, I
this?
did. Like, I feel like Darren has become the guy that's getting Funyuns. We're stuck in the machine.
Are there girls there? Because if there are, I'd like to do them.
Which, by the way, unsurprisingly, Dan Harmon was part of that sketch group. Which, dude, no wonder they were
What?
fire. Yeah, Dan Harmon was part of that sketch group. I think it was his first thing. Yeah, I know, right? Crazy.
Would you rather win $10 million or be the most important person at your current job?
Oh, that's interesting.
I'm sorry, Brian. Can you say that again?
Would you rather win $10 million or be the most important person at your current job?
Ooh, 10 million.
Well, see, I feel like Shane, though, if you were the most important person at your current job,
10 million.
wouldn't that make you the head of Vivendi? Like,
No,
massive-
because Vivendi sold us to Activision Blizzard, so it'd be the head of Activision Blizzard.
oh, that's
And
less
it-
cool.
No, totally. It'd be like I'd be inheriting a shit show versus cashing out for 10 million.
But what's your rate at that position?
Yeah,
Like,
the only-
how many years would it take?
Care. Don't want it. Don't care. 10 million. Good.
You could turn it around. Yeah, you
Right.
wouldn't
The only
immediately
argument
bail.
would be is if you get
You'd
a
inherit
golden
their
parachute that's
position,
worth more
so
than
you
10
could turn things around.
Yeah, so and actually, I'm with Brian on this one. Like, I think with me personally, like, our most important person is actually politically appointed. So he's probably out the door as soon as Biden can set up shop. But I'm, gosh, someone, what could you do given a blank check with that sort of authority? Oh, man.
Okay. You know what? I'll go ahead and like if I wanted to, because this is the prerequisite here, that I'd have to adopt, a certain ideal as my life mission, and it'd have to be within the scope of video games and a video game, whatever publisher, and I'd have to essentially go, I'm going to, it's a lot to take on. I'm not sure if that's the mantle that I want. I mean, I respect the value of that, especially turning things around a little bit. But okay, let's say the top culmination of where that could take one. A healthy, successful, respectful business. Maybe something more. Or is it still going to be essentially something that takes advantage of people through an addictive game? There's ways to take it. I suppose. I don't know. I'd have to think about it more, I guess.
No, I think that's fair because you're right. Like, I mean, that's the downside of like current gaming culture isn't about creating well, gosh, I'm really putting your industry in a box, so feel free to correct me. But like, I feel like the thirst for narrative is kind of dead, right? Like most of the most lucrative games of late have been ones that are basically digital slot machines on your phone.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. I would have to be taking upon the mantle of let's go and make this less morally vapid,
Let's create art, not a slot machine, right? Like,
even more so, like let's make this relevant to people and meaningful and valuable, and not just in an artistic sense, but in a real, because it actually does pull in people, but just like, can you do that and have it be supportive and helpful without having it be fucking addictive and debilitating as far as people's finances, man, and fucking education, the things that games have done, to people. It's addiction.
It's something I actually have thought a lot about, and I can't decide if it's because I'm freaking old now or just because there's actually something legitimate here. But when we were kids, like we got super into gaming, but we had to build our own goddamn PCs to do it. We had to learn how to network. We had to do all these things, and those skills have carried over. Like that's still stuff I use on almost a daily basis, right? And there's also a social element, right? Like we all met via these games. Now it's a console. You plug in, you fire, forget. Your network is the people you randomly meet via the sort of match or server thing. The games are actually plugged into your psychology to keep you strung along just long enough to keep pushing the button. Like it does feel fundamentally different than when we were kids, even though that makes me feel a million years old.
Let's just say that rather from a standpoint, I would question whether being in the head of my organization versus and trying to leverage that into a direction that's helpful for humanity as a whole. I know that there's still a lot of leverage with that position, but versus taking a totally separate one and going, hey, what could I do with $10 million? I don't know. It's still a toss up, I think, honestly.
That was my addendum.
Are you familiar with effective?
If you took the 10 million, you couldn't just have 10 million and move to another position or keep your own. You had to use that 10 million either to retire or to start your own thing. So that 10 million is kind of
there's strings.
Yeah, well, I'm adding an addendum. Like you can't just have 10 million and then move to a different position similar to the one you had before. You had to kind of use that money to create your own idea or thing, or just retire. So it's not like just free 10 million, find another job. Now it's the 10 million either equals retirement or a new business that you had to create.
Brian, I think we need to establish first that $10 million is FU money. Like you do not need to work if you got $10 million. Like,
but if you want to try to do something with it, it's not actually a whole lot of money.
Yeah, right. And that's the other piece of it too, right? There's a whole philosophical movement called effective altruism that goes into exactly that problem, right? Like, what's the best way to serve the world with the talents you currently have?
Wow, so, what I'm saying is, so if you retire, but you're just retiring. Like now you're not part of the equation at all. Is that worth it? As opposed to being the head of the organization you're at now and trying to change things. Are you just doing you? And okay, I retire and that's that, or I try to turn after.
Well, I think, I'm actually realizing that my agency is part of the executive branch. So technically, I would be president of the United States if I was the most important person in my organization.
Well, do you think you could do anything effective there, though?
Yeah, right? Just like, excuse me, gentlemen. I believe I'll be taking the seat.
To presidency.
Oh my God, your speeches, dude.
Can I just catch up?
Do you want to be president?
Well, I guess the reason, and sorry, maybe I'm dominating the conversation a little bit, but I have the exact sort of extreme version of that, right? $10 million, FU money, retire, go fishing, or leader of the free world, right? So it's the most sort of extreme version of this.
Do we still have Mike? Sorry. Hi.
I hear you now.
Yeah, you're close to it.
Hey, Mike.
Oh, is Mike here?
Love the beer.
Wait. Do we still have a mic?
Mike's
we hear you guys.
Love the beer.
Oh, Mike. I think Mike Benedetti. Mike. Okay.
I said the.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
No.
As in him.
Mike is not here.
Oh.
If you could only eat one fruit for the rest of your life, what would the fruit be?
What's the one that really stinks but tastes really
Doria?
good? Yes.
The what?
That's it? That'd be the fruit you
What is it?
The one that really stinks but tastes really good.
What is it called?
Yeah,
Doria.
Durian fruit. Yeah, durian fruit.
Yeah, that's a weird choice, dude. I'm gonna go with mango.
Or pineapple.
It smells in your house.
Oh, mango's good too.
Pineapple's acidic. It'll eat you out from the inside.
All right, mango it is. Fuck you, Justin.
Damn. Just got my choice jacked.
You win.
I'll convert to banana. It's cool.
You and your fruit conclave.
Fruit, yeah, I think banana you could do quite a few things with.
Oh, banana's good too.
Yeah, banana's a good choice. I'm not gonna lie. Like that's both
Banana-
a cereal and dessert
Oh,
related, breakfast and dessert related item.
all right. Final decision. Papaya. No, banana. Banana. I'll go.
What was your first video game?
Kumquat.
My first. Shane, what was your first video game? Because your video game.
You already answered. Kumquat. Wait, wait, no, that was the last one. No, my first video game was, I think it was before Zork.
Is it like no, the one that meant something to you, or like the first one you ever played?
Okay, here's the first one you
Specify the
ever
question.
played.
I can't hear Brian.
And the first one you ever played, and then the first one you remember buying. Like, this is the game that I want to buy.
Okay, first one I ever played was Mario. Actually, really, truly.
Same. I'm pretty
And-
sure. Actually, no, that's not true. I think I played Pac-Man at like a bar or something when I was a kid.
Oh,
Like Miss Pac-Man, the little like
Yeah,
arcade,
yeah.
like flat top.
or Space Invaders. Actually, I think was the first one. What was the one they used to have at Fuddruckers?
Galaga?
Galaga or Space.
Galaga. Yeah,
Invaders.
I think Galaga was the first one I ever really played. Probably played something before that, but that was the one I remember the first.
The first one I remember playing is Indiana Jones on the Commodore 64.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Yeah,
Oh,
I was thinking of
Jumpman.
Commodore 64 as well,
Yeah,
but it
Yeah.
was with,
Bonk's Adventure.
I don't know if it was
Jumpman. I'm telling you, it was Jumpman. That was
I think-
bomb.
a Zork. There's also Montezuma's Revenge.
Oh, yeah.
The first one I remember buying with like my own money was Mario Brothers 3.
Ooh, good choice.
That's nice.
The first one that ever really stuck in my head was Larry
Leisure Suit Larry.
Leisure.
Larry.
Yes.
That's interesting. So for me, I'm gonna say
before that, it was Wizards, the one where you could type in commands and it would
That's
Wizard
Zork.
Quest.
Wizard Quest, or was
Oh,
where you're like climb up this tree and you would climb up the tree.
That's
You'd be like,
Zork.
what do I
Zork.
do in this tree? It's just like I don't recognize
Zork.
that command.
that's Zork.
Yeah, that's Zork.
Hero
It's Zork.
It's text based.
Yes, that was the first one.
You bought?
That no, the one that I remember playing.
Played.
And then
Mike-
Leisure Suit Larry because of the blinds and the hot chicks.
I bought Bard's Tale. I played that one a bunch. Like, what's that?
Hard
Dude,
as
I
fuck.
remember getting to the point where I would just
That game
beat
was
it
hard as fuck.
perpetually.
Like compulsively, you just go back to it.
Like,
Hey, that's really personal.
No, no,
I know where it
it looked like we lived out or take a highway, and I had my own little room, and I would just beat it perpetually.
had my own little room.
Yeah, this is video game,
don't we?
this is video game, Shane. Not what you enjoy doing.
The first game I ever played was Five Finger Pool.
What game? I lost.
Everything in the corner
I-
pocket.
Did you win?
I could never beat that game. What game did you buy? Do you remember the first video game you like saved to buy?
I just remember walking through Toys R Us and looking through the the plexiglass, and seeing the boxes of Commodore 64 games, and I don't remember buying it myself, but I would be taken there with my dad just to go and pick one out, type of thing. So that's the first one. So that was like, that's where I was thinking of the I don't know if it's Montezuma's Revenge or I think there may have even been a Pitfall. Was
Mm-hmm.
played quite a bit.
Wow.
Of
We
Pitfall.
had Pitfall on PC at the apartment complex.
You had a PC back then?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, our dad was into selling, so we got
Yep.
a little bit of a leg up on that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah, that's kind of nice.
Dude,
That's why we had.
That was 1986, 87.
God, I remember we went from 5 1/4 discs to 3 1/2 or whatever.
Yeah,
and then it was like
remember the
fucking new way.
change. Yeah.
Yeah, see, we went from the Commodore 64 to Windows 95, so like, there was a huge jump. We didn't own the Commodore 64 when it was popular. It was more like after that, and then it kind of grew from there.
We never. Did you guys like? What was your first console?
I mean, if you don't count that, we had an NES, but that was well after popular. Like I think we had the NES like maybe a year before the SNES came out, and then that was like
we had NES back at the apartment complex. You got your Nintendo when we lived at the apartment.
I love that we can like I know it's like not super duper old, but like when you say NES and SNES, I could picture the console in my head, and it's kind of cool. Just like the colors of SNES, you know, the purple and gray stuff. You know?
Well, dude, I downloaded that Super Nintendo game pack for the Switch, and so I never had a Super Nintendo. I was a Genesis kid.
Hey, I just got Jocelyn's Switch, so send me the link for that shit.
Oh, dude, it's actually like you have to like join their like year membership.
Yeah, it's like $8 a month, and then you get like all the NES and SNES games that pretty much.
Okay, I'm down. Sure.
So, dude, Super Mario World, I never played. Like, I had friends that played through it.
The original?
That's weird. That's really weird.
Dude, what is wrong with you? Well, never mind. That explains it.
Did you play Mario 64 when it came out?
I'd watch Jeremy play it. Like, that was the closest I got to that one.
That's a good game. You need to play that one.
I think that's another one I can actually download. But dude, Super Mario World is freaking fun. Like,
oh hell yeah, that's a great game.
So the only downside is on the Switch, like the updated version. There's a rewind feature. So you know that like on platforming games, you'd get the stupid cheese ball, like, oh, I didn't know it was there, like F that. But you'd have to go through the whole level again. With the rewind feature, like, well, F that, I'm not sitting down on that one. So you just rewind it. And so I burned through that game in like a couple of days because like you could just, you know, all the like sort of hard learning you'd have to do in these platforming games. They kind of
cheese.
Well, yeah, they removed the drudgery to some extent, which is both nice and also an essential part of the experience that I've skipped.
The learning experience.
Yeah,
no, I agree. The patience element.
It's like playing Ghosts and Ghouls with rewind. That doesn't count.
So that is one of the games you can click too, and I've been like scared to click on it because that game was brutal.
It's impossible. It's impossible.
Ghosts and Ghouls. I don't remember that.
Ghosts and Goblins. Ghouls and Goblins, I think is what it means.
Oh,
Ghosts and Goblins.
Yeah.
See that?
Okay.
I don't know what it was Goblins. It was Ghosts and Ghouls.
Ghosts and Goblins.
Ghosts and Goblins.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm leaning towards that. But dude, that just makes me think of Castlevania, and that was the
that game was bomb. That's not on the list. That's not one of the options, which sucks. That game was bomb.
Oh, that was a good game.
That PlayStation Castlevania they put out, the Symphony of the Night, was such a good game.
That's the downside to the English language.